Hello, hello. I am going to open up our chat here. So as you are coming on in, if you can do me a favor, if you are new, you've never come to any of my master classes or my webinars before, I always like to test the chat at the beginning because this is how you'll have the opportunity to ask any questions when we get to the Q&A portion. Hi, Laura. So I'll just give it a couple minutes as everyone's coming into the room here. And if you just type in hi, hello, this is not just for me. This is how you are going to be able to test your ability to ask a question when we get to the question portion. I'm just the skies have literally just opened here and it's pouring. And so my dog is by my feet because she is scared out of the bejesus. So hopefully she'll just stay calm and chill. If you hear crying and me ignoring it, she's fine. She's going to be okay. All right. So many of you in here. Hello, hello. We're going to be spending the next hour-ish together. We're going to be talking about magnesium. We are going to talk about midlife fatigue. We're going to talk about so many of the things that can change and shift in our bodies. And sharing tonight in this masterclass specifically, a lot of the things that I recommend and use with my private clients. And this could be everyday women that are just feeling a little bit more tired than they normally do, brain fog, inflammation, sleep is not what it used to be. But these are also suggestions that I give to my business clients that I'm working with. I do a lot of mentorship and I'm supporting everything and everyone from the everyday mom and the everyday woman to the, corporate woman to the entrepreneur and everyone in between. And I always say that when you can support the women of the household and you can support the women of the world, you are doing your part taking care of the world as a whole. Because when we feel good and we are connected to our bodies and we feel like everything is firing on all cylinders, we create incredible impact out there. And when I look out into the world right now, I see a time where, as women, we have the opportunity to be more resourced than we ever have before, yet so many are still not feeling well. And I was being interviewed the other day. And I was asked this question that I wasn't prepared for, but I had an answer. And it was, what do you feel like the modern day crisis is right now that women are going through? And I feel like the host was expecting me to say it's perimenopause and menopause. But my answer was not that. My answer was this. And I think this is a great way to start off tonight. What I feel like the crisis is right now for women is that we are more resourced. We have more accessibility to free information, webinars like this, podcast, YouTube, emails, newsletters, free books people give away. We have so much access to so much information that is out there. And yet, so many women are still feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, and like they don't know where to begin. How is that possible? And that's where I feel like women are stuck in this limbo of, okay, now I feel more educated. I feel like I know there's more options out there for my health and my body, regardless of what phase of life I'm moving through. But how the heck do I know where to begin for me? And how do I make this something that's a bit more specific for me? And so coming into this call tonight, which I'm so excited to be partnering with a company that I love within Us Naturals that I use every day. If you follow me on Instagram and you see me, having my warm mug of yum, my matcha with my marine-based collagen, that is from the company within us. And I am going to talk to you tonight about some of the things I use from them, magnesium specifically, different minerals and electrolytes. But it is also knowing that right there. How do you know even what to bring into your home? We don't want to end up having cupboards full of supplements and products and stuff and not really understand why we bought that or how we utilize that and if it's something we even need, right? I could be talking about things that are really great for my body, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be something that you need. And so the way that I like to teach is I like to teach. I don't like to just tell you, don't ask me questions, just go and get this thing. I want you to understand through the lens of your own body how something could support you and the areas that it can. Oh, you're drinking it right now. There you go. And you had your collagen in your coffee this morning. So, Chris, you said this is so true for you in terms of how I was describing how you're feeling. I would love to know from just a couple of you, and I'll just give it a few moments here because it takes time to type. Why are you here tonight? What are you hoping you're going to hear me talk about? again, through the lens of, how to support sleep, fatigue, nervous system, and the foundation of our body as a whole when we talk about this. What are you hoping to learn about tonight? I'm going to let you answer that here. I have, thanks, Beth. I have my water here. I'm actually going to pop my rehydrate in. Insomnia, okay, multifaceted, definitely nuanced. We can chat about that. To learn about magnesium. Yeah, awesome, Stacy, because there's different types of magnesium, sleep and fatigue, better nervous system regulation. I like to wake up and not feel tired. Yeah, me too, Deanne. I like to wake up and not feel tired either, right? Nothing's more defeating than when you wake up after you've been sleeping and you still feel tired. Let me scroll. Oh, thank you so much for all answering in this. Sleep and energy, sleeping through the night. Curious to learn more about magnesium as you take it and you want to know more. Love that, Francois. Sudden loss and find my need to find a solid morning routine to stay away from social media distractions. Oh yeah, it's so easy to fall down the rabbit hole. Perimenopause symptoms and how to use magnesium, sleep, constipation. Love that. Don't love that for you, but love that we're going to talk about it. Nervous system, sleep. Yeah, everyone so tired, right? Different ways to get better deep sleep and REM sleep. Okay, amazing. What type and how should we take it? Yeah, because there's, I think now there's 9 different forms of magnesium you can buy in the marketplace. And so trying to figure out which one to purchase, and how to see through slick marketing, right? Like how to really know what is the thing that your body needs and requires, how to know if it is actually working and resonating with your body and if it's not. Magnesium, one of the reasons I love this mineral so much, and it's such a powerful mineral and it's responsible for hundreds of jobs in your body every day. You will know very quickly if the form you're taking is not the form for you. And we'll get to how you'll know that in a little bit. I can't tell you exactly what you're going to need, Lisa, but I can hopefully narrow down the pipeline of kind of process of elimination, right? I don't believe we need to be taking 20 things a day. And I will tell you, as someone who has been doing this for going into my 29th year in practice, my 24th year in clinical practice, is that I was taught as a practitioner to really build protocols that were based on multiple supplements all at the same time, give people a meal plan and some recipes, a couple of lifestyle tips, send them on the way and get them back in for maybe 2 follow-ups. That's what we were taught. That was the model in school. Initial consult, follow up, and then send them on their way. Decades later, I have learned that actually does not work. And where I am a fan of supplementation because there is a time and a place, and unfortunately, the quality of our food, the quality of the soil our food is grown in, just the level of stress and things that we have coming at us in life, our body does need support. But we don't want to be bringing supplements in where we could be focusing on improving our gut health, our digestion, getting better quality food in. And so it's about how do you know for the right now? What are the things to be focusing on in this moment? And coaching your body up. That's how I think of supplements now. We're bringing players into the game to coach the situation up. And we hope we nail it like the Florida Panthers and not so much like the Edmonton Oilers. That's how we kind of know, like if something's working and it's not. It's a very sad game last night. But do you know what I'm saying? Like we want to make sure that we're using things with the right intention and the right purpose. You want to learn more about magnesium as a whole. Okay, amazing. Hello, Nadia Edwards. If it's the same Nadia Edwards that is responsible for majority of the art and the creation, all of her pieces of artwork are behind me. Okay, Nadia Edwards. You can find her on Instagram. Retaining water, weight gain, hot flashes, how to better absorb nutrients. Amazing. I love how interactive you all are already. Now, that's you. What I'm going to ask you is that you hold questions now until I get to the point where I'm going to open up the floor for questions because I have made some notes for myself. I actually have some images of things that I want to be able to show you so you can understand a little deeper. You can screenshot them as well too, and then I'll open up the floor for some Q&A. It can just be super distracting if I'm in a train of thought and then there's questions that come in. So here we go. All right. So what I would recommend is that you have pen and paper nearby so that you can make some notes for yourself. And also if there is a question that you have, you can write it down so that when we get to that point, then we can address it there. I think that Not I think I know, and working with women, we've been taught to push and to produce and to force and just override symptoms. And this is oftentimes the reason that we look to adding certain things into our diet or into our supplement routine, is that we have a symptom, it's irritating, we don't want to feel it. And so we're like, what do I take to make it go away? I look at supplementation very differently. I look at what can we bring in the body to support the body so that when the body is supported, we no longer have the severity of that symptom, the intensity of it, or the frequency of it showing up. So for instance, those of you who have constipation, okay? We can utilize something like magnesium to bring into the body alongside enough hydration, alongside a relaxed nervous system, alongside proper nutrition and fiber and healthy fats to get the body into a state where it can have the motility, the actual ability to move the stool out of your body in a healthy way. Not in a way where now you've gone from having no bowel movement or rock hard pellet bowel movements like deer poop essentially, to now mud pies and muckiness. You're trying to find this place between. So in one hand, you can think, well, I wasn't going at all, and so I'm just happy I'm going, even if it's not the quality of a bowel movement you want to be having. We want to be able to titrate that up and find that place in between where you're having a really satisfying void. You have a bowel movement every day where you feel like, okay, like things have vacated the building, not where it's like everyone's running for the hills and you've got to run for a bathroom. And I was just on a call with a woman that said to me, like, if I am out for a walk, I have to choose the walks where I can map out and know places that are going to be open at that time for me to go to bathroom, where there is an outhouse, like, or I'm in trouble. If I start to get cramps, like, I need to know where I can go. We don't want that to be our reality moving forward. So what are some of the things that we can pay attention to and do within our body? I also want to say that we're not trying to hack our way through anything. We're trying to support our way through this. So I'm not going to talk to you about like this is a biohacking tool and this is a thing. No, I'm going to teach you how to start to tune into some of those symptoms that you got and ask yourself better questions as to why could this be happening? Because we have so many women that aren't sleeping well, who have burnout, brain fog, mood changes, metabolic shifts that are making her feel exhausted, making her feel puffy and inflamed, causing weight gain, and just not feeling like herself. And so many women can say things like, I feel like my body is, turning against me. I feel like my body is broken. And your body's not broken, but your body is definitely trying to get your attention. So let's start at the beginning, which for so many women is around sleep. And why does sleep change so much when we get into midlife? Now, I had a little bit of an aha moment not too long ago when I said to my husband one day, why do I keep getting booked for all of these midlife conferences and asked to be a keynote speaker at midlife events? And he was like, you're 45, Jenn. You're halfway to 90. You are midlife. And I was like, oh my God, I am midlife. And depending on when we live, when we are in our late 30s and our 40s and into our 50s, we are around that midlife, which is wild to think about. But even if we take kind of that chronological age out of the equation, there's so much changing in our bodies as women. Now, I sit in this place of deep understanding, and I think the changes are fascinating and very cool, and that there is a purpose for why these shifts happen in our body. For the woman who is feeling all of the signs and symptoms that we talked about, she is like, I would not describe this as I would like to be cool. I would like to not be hot. I would like to be cool, but I don't think that this is cool what's going on. When you think about sleep and why your body is no longer sleeping, the first question I want to ask you is, have you ever been a good sleeper? Okay, so many women will say things like, I'm not sleeping well, and this and that. And then when you spend time and ask her, she hasn't slept well in forever. She hasn't slept well since university. She hasn't slept well since she was pregnant. She hasn't slept well since babies. She hasn't slept well since she got a dog. So you have to also understand, is this something that actually just started, or is this historically what your pattern has been? If we can start to understand some of the patterns, it's easier to understand, is this actually like a perimenopause, menopause symptom do you have going going on? Or is this more so you've had an ongoing circadian rhythm issue, meaning, your sleep routine has not been good for a long period of time. There's other people that have been waking you up, pet, child, snoring partner, neighbors that are loud, or somebody who works shift work, lights that are out on the street. So before we're trying to run to the solution, we have to understand, like, is this a you problem why you're not sleeping, or is this an environmental problem? I have no problems sleeping, but my husband, he sometimes does not sleep so good. If he wakes up, I wake up. If I wake up in the morning and I have had a poor sleep because my husband was up, because our kids came in late, because the dog decided to get up, that is not, I don't have a problem sleeping. The people around me are waking me up and that is impacting my sleep. But I myself do not have trouble sleeping. Okay. The opposite of that is the house is quiet. Everyone else is sleeping. You're waking up at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and you can't fall back asleep. You have a sleep issue. Okay. So let me ask this question. Do you have a sleep issue or do you have an environmental issue? Just write in the chat, sleep or environmental, because this is also an important thing to understand as well. You could be trying to chase down something that's going to make you sleep when it's the people where you just need your own house. You just need your own place to live. Okay. Sleep, sleep. Some of you, it's environmental. Okay. Environmental, sleep, sleep. Can it be both? Sure can. Sure can. You can be the light sleeper and then people waking you up is not helping. Yes, to my own house. I know that people are like, what stage of perimenopause are you in? I'm like, I'm in the stage where I would like my own place. That's the stage that I'm at. Sleep issues all my life now, 68 years old, meaning you've had sleep issues your entire life and you're 68 and they're still coming at you. Okay. Okay. And both. So let's talk about it from both sides of the spectrum here. For those of you where it's environmental, I would kind of fall into this category. Teenagers, husband who doesn't sleep sometimes, dog that can get up. I cannot change some of those things. Okay. What I can do though is do things and put them in place to take the best care of my body and make sure the sleep I am getting is the most restorative, deep, REM-based sleep possible. Getting myself to bed earlier at night. This is a big one. So if I know there's going to be a teenager coming in the house at 1 o'clock in the morning, if I know that my husband's normal time to get up is around 3 a.m. to go to the bathroom, I need to get myself to bed as early as possible so I can front end good quality sleep. Ladies, I want you to remember these time slots I'm going to tell you. The most important sleep for your adrenals and your nervous system are 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. This is supporting your, not just your circadian rhythm, your cortisol and insulin relationship. If you look at the actual body clock, every hour on the clock is associated with different organs and systems in our body. If you've ever worked with a Chinese medicine practitioner or an Ayurvedic practitioner, they may have taught you this. From 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. is really what is setting the tone for our adrenals and supporting our nervous system. So when people are asking the question of how do I improve my deep sleep? How do I improve my REM sleep? How do I feel more rested in the morning? It is not a fallacy when people are told the earlier you get yourself to bed, the better you will sleep. You know this for children. The earlier you get them to bed, the better they sleep once they're asleep. It never works where you try to keep them up as late as possible and then it ends up being their best night's sleep. It's typically their worst night's sleep. It is no different for you. So that is step number one, is really establishing these routines and getting yourself to sleep. The other thing is utilizing certain things like magnesium to support. Now, stay with me on this because magnesium is not a sedative. Magnesium does not make you fall asleep. Magnesium is a mineral that is very relaxing. So what magnesium does, amongst many other things, is magnesium supports the body winding down. And if you're the kind of person that can't settle down, so some of you said insomnia, you cannot fall asleep. Now, that can be very multifaceted. You might not be falling asleep because there's a lot on your heart and a lot in your mind. You could be afraid of something, and that's why you're not falling asleep. There could be many different reasons. If you don't have stable blood sugar, right? You haven't eaten enough in that day. You've had too much alcohol. You've had very stimulating things. This could be a reason why you're not falling asleep. If you're waking often between 2 and 4 in the morning, this is connected to adrenal activation. What that means is that the adrenals get activated in the middle of the night for some reason. They're not supposed to. They're meant to be stable, satiated, and calm throughout the night so that you can stay asleep. If you're waking regularly in the middle of the night and you have a pattern, you're like, I don't even need to look at the clock. I know what time it is because I see this time every single night. When that pattern shows up, it is there to ask you something. And that question is typically, what is going on with your liver health? Why are your adrenals kicking into gear? Do you have low blood sugar in this moment? Did you go to bed either not fed enough or with a little bit of high and now you've crashed and now you're having a rebound? If you have any diabetics in your life, you will know this. They have to go to bed at a certain level with their glucose. Otherwise, if they have a low in the middle of the night, and they don't wake up, this is very dangerous. The body will often wake you up to say either you need to do something to pick your blood sugar back up. Really, what it's saying is go and eat. I don't want you to eat in the middle of the night. Or your body is picking up that there is a stressor. So if you overheat, this signals to the adrenals to pump out some cortisol. Cortisol, beautiful hormone. We're not trying to live in a state where we're trying to lower our cortisol. We want to do a good job at secreting it and managing it and utilizing it. So everyone telling you got to lower your cortisol, be very careful of that because you got to be careful you're not going out and trying to take herbs and supplements and things that are suppressing cortisol production. It's more about how your body is utilizing it and when it's utilizing it. So if what's happening is in the middle of the night, you've either had low blood sugar, somebody has woken you up, or you've been startled out of a sleep, right? You wake up and now you're moving around. You've woken up because you're having a hot flash. You're taking the blankets off. You're waking up and tossing and turning, and you're like, I must have to pee. Otherwise, why would I be awake? You start to create this motion in your body. You get up, you go to the bathroom, you're seeing some light now. I always say to people, if you can see your hand in front of your face, you have too much light in your room. You should not be able to see anything, hence an eye mask, okay? When these signals happen, what's happening is you're signaling to your adrenals and your nervous system, like, okay, we are in motion, we are upright, we are doing things, temperature's increased. We now need to create our cortisol awakening response. And what happens is within about 10 to 30 minutes, you are going to have this production of cortisol that comes on the scene. Cortisol starts to stimulate the body, getting into motion like the day is beginning. Now, the crazy thing about this is internally, your body is going to do this. Mentally, you know it's not time to get up. Mentally, you're like, why am I wired all of a sudden in the middle of the night? Why can't I fall back asleep? And you try, you physically try, you toss, you turn, you're like praying, you're doing breath work, you're doing all the things to go back to bed. And typically you won't fall back asleep for an hour or longer. And the reason is cortisol, fast to release, slow to clear. Fast to release, slow to clear. You have to remember this. So if I get woken in the middle of the night, I instantly am like, Jenn, you are a camel and you will hold this bladder until you wake in the morning. Because I know if I stand up and I start moving around, it will be harder for me to fall back asleep. Embrace the camel. You can hold it. Okay. This is what I have to say to myself. And if I do that, I'll fall back asleep and I'll sleep straight through until the alarm goes off. If I get up and go to the bathroom, I'm going to be up a lot longer. Okay. When we think about how magnesium can support what I just described, okay, there's magnesium and then progesterone can help this as well. And I don't want to go too deep into the progesterone, thing, but when we're talking about magnesium, the most common magnesium that people are going to utilize when it comes to sleep is magnesium bisglycinate, okay? The glycine component of that is what can help to calm the nervous system in a way that can help you to support better sleep, rest, and relaxation. Now, we've got citrate magnesium, we have chelate, we have threonate, we have malate, we have many different forms. The three most common forms that you will see be used, okay, for most people to take, the most common one is the bisglycinate, easiest for people to absorb and uptake. So when we're talking about choosing supplements where the body is actually going to be able to use what we're taking and we're not just paying for expensive pee and poo and possibly taking something that will contribute to the digestive issues and the constipation, bisglycinate, beautiful. It's a very gentle form on the stomach, so it doesn't contribute to things like diarrhea. when you take it, most companies are going to do it in somewhere around like 150 to a 200 milligram dosing in a powder or in a capsule, okay? That is where most people will start. Now, therapeutic dosing of magnesium, and I'm not telling you to go and do this. We're all just learning right now, okay? This is not like Jenn told me to do this. We're all just learning. Therapeutic dosing is about 5 times your body weight in milligrams, okay? 5 times your body weight in milligrams. So if you are 150 pounds and you multiply that by 5, what is that? 600 milligrams? That would be like 3 capsules, okay? Now, for some people's bodies, that's going to feel fantastic. It's going to get the bowels moving. It's going to get rid of the cramps in their calves, the cramps in their toes. It's going to get rid of their headache. They're going to feel fantastic, okay? Other people, it may kind of stir things up. Citrate is another very common form of magnesium. So for those of you who have been using like the Calms magnesium powder, that's a citrate-based and a carbonate. And so it's fizzy, you mix it in, it fizzes up, and people will take that before bed. It can help with sleep and calming down, but it can also really loosen your stool. So you can go from having maybe these drier bowel movements, and now you've got mucky stool. We're not trying to have either of those. The muckiness is movement, but if we have to continually use more and more citrate to get you to go to the bathroom, that's a band-aid. Now, threonate is beautiful because it is the magnesium that crosses the blood-brain barrier. So any type of brain fog, any mood changes, any cognitive shifts that have been happening, any history of concussion, any type of brain trauma, anything that is going on that has impacted your cognitive function, your mood, and the emotions that you feel are happening up here, threonate is beautiful. You can get a product where you're combining the bisglycinate and the threonate, which I'm holding right here, which is the newest form of magnesium from within us. Where's the glare? Okay, and get rid of it there. And I have an image that I'll show you, and we have discounts for this as well too. You're getting the best of both worlds. And so it's going to help with your brain fog. It's going to help to give you a more restorative level of sleep. It's going to do all of the things that magnesium does, and it's in a very easy, digestible form. Why I like doing a powder for a lot of people. Now, listen, I can do a capsule, and I don't have any digestive issues, so I can do capsules and I'm fine. For people who have a lot of sensitivities and a lot of digestive inflammation that's going on, more and more capsules may not be the best route to go. So I'm always looking at liquid, tincture, powders, and emulsions to be able to put in someone's body so we bypass a lot of the digestive power needed and it gets right into the body and into the system and into the cells where it needs to go. And so you can just do a scoop of the magnesium, and this has a little bit of collagen peptides in it as well. So it's supportive for the lining of your gut, hair, skin, and nails. We think collagen, I always get asked from people, does collagen count towards my protein, like my macros? In my world, it does not, okay? And the reason why is that collagen is a building block for tissue. So think tendons, ligaments, joint, lining of your gut, hair, nails, skin, those types of things. Think structure. When we are consuming foods that are high in protein, we're not trying to go for collagen-based sources of protein to build muscle. We are trying to go for food that has all of the amino acids that are helping our body get enough protein that are the building blocks of muscle. So collagen and protein to me are two separate things. Collagen peptides just happen to be a rich source of protein, but the source of protein that collagen is rich in is doing something different for your body. Now, when we talk about building muscle, if you don't have healthy tendons, ligaments, and joint structure, it is going to be harder for you to lift weights, to do the exercise, and to do the movement, to perform those type of workouts, to recover from those workouts. So the collagen is playing a different role in your body. And by taking a magnesium at night that has the combination of the blood-brain barrier, the gut, and has collagen, this also can help you to sleep throughout the night, okay? Does that make sense how I've explained that to you in terms of the difference of like the collagen that you're getting, why you'd be taking it versus like protein you're gonna go and chew and consume from your foods, okay? Okay, perfect, all right. If you're taking a liquid magnesium glycinate, would Within Us Magnesium replace it? Yes. So here is the thing. So this is the Within Us Magnesium True Marine Collagen. I actually have a photo. Let me pull it up here for you. And then you can screenshot this. And then I'll give you the code that you can use. So give me one sec. Let me just share my screen for a moment. Okay, can you all see this? I'm not going to like blow it up massive in this, but so this is their magnesium. And so take a screenshot of this because I've written down here and explained for you all of the benefits of what this magnesium does. Okay. Now I use this one at night. Sometimes I will also have a scoop in the morning. Why would I do that? One of my perimenopause changes, I'm going to be 46 in September. On the 5th, I like earrings. One of my changes that have happened is that day 2 of my period now, I get a little bit of cramping in my lower back and I get a dull headache, and I've never had that before in my life. And so on day 2, if I wake up and I feel that, I will actually take a scoop of my magnesium in the morning. And I find that that really helps with that tension type headache that comes on, and it helps with the aches that I get into my lower back and into my uterus. And then I will take it in the evening as well on that day. I have some women who magnesium, which is supposed to calm them at night, actually kind of excites them. And so I'll move the magnesium earlier in the day. I have some clients that say, I would do anything to be able to have a bowel movement in the middle of the day because I am so uncomfortable more meals that I eat. So I'll give them their magnesium earlier in the day. It's not going to make you fall asleep. Again, it's not a sedative. Okay. So, and the code is Jenn Pike 20. You can save 20% off your magnesium, all of your orders that you would use. While we're on here, I'm just going to scoot down for a second and show you the collagen. So if you've been following me for a long time, I used bovine-based collagen for years, which is like beef-based collagen. I'm an omnivore. I'm not plant-based, very plant-rich, but I do eat animal products. And I loved it. I had no issues with it. And the reason that I hadn't used marine-based collagen is that the companies I had tried before, they were very grainy. They did not mix well, and there was just like a certain odor to it, and I did not like it. Fast forward to, I think it's been about a year and a half now when I was introduced to Within Us. It may even be longer. And I tried theirs and I was like, you need way less of this. Like literally a scoop is so, I was having like a big scoop needing to get the same amount of collagen in. And so when I first got the product, I was like, well, then I'm going to have to use twice as much. No, you don't. You are getting the same amount in so much less, and it's super absorbent. You can read it here. It's non-GMO, dairy-free, gluten-free, wild-caught, sustainably sourced, all the things. And so I started to use it. And I was like I didn't tell anybody that I had switched, okay? I was using it for a few months and I was like, I am noticing a difference. I didn't realize that when I was using the bovine, I was actually a little bit bloated after having my matcha. And I didn't know that until I switched to the marine. And then I was like, hold on. I don't feel that gut thing that I was feeling before when I was having my matcha and I was having my collagen. I've noticed a difference in my skin. I have noticed it. I lost a lot of hair during the stress of COVID, and I've done a few things, and one of them has been changing my collagen. And I'm very active. I teach a lot of classes. I do a lot of walking and hiking. I love it. So you need a lot less, and I think that that is important. And there's something to be said for that as well too. Have you used this collagen 3 months and your hair has stopped falling out? High 10 to that. That is amazing. Um, there can be corn and magnesium. Magnesium doesn't come with corn, but there's different non-medicinal ingredients that some companies will use. So this company, they do not add any of the corn derivatives. So things like maltodextrin can be derived from corn. Vitamin A palmitate can be derived from corn. And this is the thing is like as a consumer, when we're buying products, we may not know this. My son has a sensitivity to corn, and I have to be very careful on the things that I bring into the home for him to use because certain supplements that are supposed to like reduce inflammation in his system produce inflammation. Now, my husband and my daughter could take those same supplements that have the corn derivative totally fine. Totally fine. It actually does well in their body. So again, everyone is very different. There are no vegan sources of collagen because collagen comes from human or animal, well, not human, sorry, let me back that up, comes from animal tissue. There are vegan building peptides, but collagen in and of itself is coming from either, like with marine, it comes from the scales. Bovine, it is coming from tissue. So there is not a vegan source of collagen, but there are vegan building peptides. So Sun Warrior is a company that has a product that is collagen building peptides. Okay. All right, I'm going to come back in to continue to teach on this, and then I'll come back in for more Q&A. So that is the magnesium and the glycinate and the threonate, okay? So the other thing about threonate that's really helpful, ladies, is that because it moves deeper in the body because it's crossing the blood-brain barrier, it is also super supportive in memory consolidation. This is connected with your REM sleep. So REM sleep is where we dream. REM sleep is where we actually, like, how many of you dream but you don't remember your dreams? Okay. We should be able to have some level of recollection. Doesn't mean every single detail. The other thing is when you hold a memory and you're like, it is at the tip of my tongue. Why can't I bring it and pull it forward? Threonate can be beautiful and help with that. So that form of magnesium, and when we have this combination of the bisglycinate and the threonate, it is magnesium that is not just supporting muscle relaxation, it is supporting brain rest as well. And for our bodies to get into that deep state of sleep, the brain has to not be in a constant state of stress, anticipation, and worry. And so when I first started tracking my sleep many, many years ago, back in like 2017, if you had asked me if I slept great, I would have been like, yeah, sleep fantastic. I was averaging like 9 to 15 minutes a night of deep sleep. That is so not good. When people talk about metabolic health and metabolic syndrome and cellular health and oxidative stress, I was in that picture for sure. And I'm grateful that I had something like an Oura ring at that time to help me. Now I'm at the point where using a device like this, where I've collected enough data that when the battery dies on this, I won't get another one. Why? I just don't need it. I have learned what I need to know about my body now to understand what works for me getting good quality sleep. Now, I do want to just also say that at this time, if you are in perimenopause or menopause and beyond, progesterone can also be a very healthy, helpful addition if your body manages it well to help with sleep. Can also help on the estrogen receptor sites to help with hot flashes, inflammation, and so much more. So it's a conversation to have with your provider. I cannot, talk to you tonight and say, like, you should go on this much and that. You need to work with a provider that is licensed in your province or in your state, but it is a conversation worth having if you have not had that yet and you are really struggling with sleep and with stress. Now, the second part to this is talking about brain fog and how this shows up. And many of us have magnesium depletion. Okay. So, especially by the time we've gotten into our 40s, when our body's under stress, the nutrients your body just literally blows through, all your B vitamins, by gone. Body is like, need those, all the B's, I need to use those in order to move you through life, to think clearly, to perform, to manage and adapt to stress, to support your immune system, and magnesium. So when the body has a greater load of stress on us, and this could be any form of stress, it could be beautiful stress, but it's just feeling like a lot, it does dysregulate our body's cortisol management. Now, remember what I said. You don't want to walk around in the world and being like, oh my God, my cortisol is so high. I just have to get my cortisol down. Probably not. And if that's what you're feeling like is going on, you should work with someone who can do a proper intake and probably run some functional tests to help you understand what's going on with your cortisol. I will tell you, if you're a woman who describes yourself as exhausted all the time, who can't get up without coffee, is always looking for something sweet throughout the day, your cortisol is not high. It is probably hanging on by a thread. So we don't want you doing things that are going to decrease it. We need to actually wake it up. We need to reestablish your circadian rhythm, your relationship with light and dark. We need to get you up with the light in the morning, give you protein and fiber and healthy carbohydrates to get your body supported so energy comes on in a natural way, not an artificial way through lots of coffee or lots of caffeine or sugar in the morning and just like grinning and bearing to get throughout your day. Okay. When we have this dysregulated cortisol pattern, we will have magnesium depletion. If you have magnesium depletion, this is known as one of your core four. So minerals are the spark plug for your body. Minerals make up all of the ability and capability for your body to have a consistent, efficient source of energy. Magnesium works in tandem with calcium. It works in tandem with sodium and potassium. Your adrenals, which are two glands that sit on top of your kidneys that are responsible for healthy blood pressure. So if you're the woman that you go from standing or sitting to standing and you're like, I am seeing stars. In yoga, you're like, this is a sign from your adrenals that you need some support. If you don't sweat, if you sweat too much, you don't urinate enough, you are dehydrated, you feel like all the time. This is where looking at your electrolyte balance is so important. So we look at it in two different ways. We look at it in complete blood labs, and we will look at your serum levels of magnesium, potassium, sodium. We also look at other kidney factors, and we will look at calcium, so the core four of them. We also look at them in an HTMA test, which is testing your hair. And here is the thing. When we look at a test result and we see, oh, something's high, like for instance, if we looked at testing your hair and your result came back and it showed that the magnesium bar was really high, the average person would look at that and go, my magnesium is fantastic. No, no. What that means is you have a magnesium loss. If the magnesium is high in your hair, the magnesium is out here and it ain't in here. You are depleting and using your magnesium at a high level. So the whole thing with our bodies is we want to take in nutrients. Micronutrients are your vitamins and your minerals. Macros are your carbs, proteins, fibers, and your fats that help to provide all the micronutrition. And we want to bring that into a body that is doing a good job at digesting. So we pull all the nutrition out and then our cells can suck all that up. In a lot of bodies, what happens is you look at your plate and you're like, I'm getting those good foods in, but your digestion is off. You're bloated, you're burpy, you're gassy, you're running to the bathroom, you're not breaking the food down. And so you're not able to absorb and uptake it. Or your stress is so high, your body is like, I know you want that because you want to build muscle and you want to be healthy, but we have a dumpster fire going on in your nervous system right now, and we get it first. So we're going to go and pull. And this is how we become depleted. Does this make sense? How I'm explaining this? Okay. Does it make sense? Okay. Gotta hydrate. Okay. So, yes, using electrolytes can help a ton. I use electrolytes every day. I have used electrolytes for a very long time. I've used all different types, and I think there are different types for different people. When I'm working with someone who has a lot of inflammation and a lot of puffiness, I'm always looking at what's going on with their sodium potassium relationship, because you can retain a lot of water if those two minerals are not in check and balance. So if you're the kind of person where you avoid sodium, okay, you don't even know what potassium foods are. Or on the opposite end of the spectrum, you maybe eat a lot of takeout food, a lot of frozen foods, a lot of condiments where there's a lot of hidden sodium. So you're maybe not shaking the shaker, but there's just a lot of hidden sources coming in. If we have a lot of puffiness and we have a lot of, like, you can't get your rings off and those kind of things, combined with low energy, brain fog, and every time you try to work out, you feel like you're getting sick and it takes you a long time to recover, electrolytes are a beautiful thing to bring in. Now, there are all different electrolytes on the market, okay? You all know, because again, if you've been following me on Instagram, which you probably have because you're here, I've used Element for a long time, LMNT, which is out of the US. That is like a higher sodium based electrolyte, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and then about 60 milligrams of magnesium. Okay. That is one that if you are somebody where you are doing high endurance activities, you are sweating a ton, that is fantastic. Okay. What I use on a daily basis is Rehydrate. So Rehydrate is an electrolyte from within us. Again, I'll show you a picture so you can screenshot it. And what I love about this is a little bit less sodium, incredible ratio of the potassium, the magnesium, and the calcium, and it still has the collagen in here. So that is what is in my water. And I use water as a vehicle. So again, I don't want to be taking a whack load of pills and things like that. So I look at my water and I go, I need to get hydrated. Plain water will not hydrate you. Plain water is not going to get in your cells. In order for you to actually be hydrated, this is going to take you back to grade 9 biology and science, okay? Sodium has to get into the cells. Potassium has to help carry it into the cells. So this is where electrolytes can be a game changer. My dad has stage 3 kidney failure. And when he has not had enough sodium, because he will swell, he will get edema, he will get puffiness. I have my dad using the Rehydrate from Within Us, because you have to be careful in certain people's bodies that it's not too much sodium, right? So it's like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. We're not trying to swing the pendulum, like more is not always better. In fact, I believe in our bodies, it's about doing less better and choosing things that can help to bridge that gap. So yeah. Well, it's not that you're doing anything wrong, Pat. It's that there can be lots of reasons why you're puffy, swollen, and exhausted, right? Just bringing electrolytes in doesn't mean it's going to shift it. But what it means is when we're sitting back and asking ourselves the question, like, how do I support my adrenals? And you go through the thing and say, like, are you replenishing your sodium and potassium? So are you drinking things like coconut water? If you didn't want to use a powder like that, adding in cream of tartar, okay, like an eighth of a teaspoon, that's potassium. Coconut water, rich source of it. Those kind of things are going to help to bring it in balance. For me, I just love to be able to have something where I don't have to be a chemist. I just get to do a scoop and add it in. If you use electrolytes but don't need them, is it harmful? No, and I would be hard pressed to find someone nowadays who does not need electrolytes, to be honest. How often do I drink the Rehydrate each day? 1 to 2 times. Now, again, remember, friends, I run an online studio. I'm teaching 5 classes a week. I walk every single day, and my husband and I will often hike. I also have the kind of career where when I'm doing this, it's a lot of energy, and I'm just at the point where I know now if I need more. Every day I will have a scoop. I'll typically drink it while I'm teaching my live classes in synced. And then if I have a long day in front of the computer, I will have another scoop when I sit down at the desk. And I notice a huge difference in my energy. I notice I'm like not like that. And it gives me a little extra pep for that. With LMNT, a pinch won't give you the benefits. So it's 1,000 milligrams of sodium. It's a higher sodium based one. Use a third or a quarter of the packet, but use the amount throughout the day. So you could do like a third in the morning, a third in the afternoon, and a third a little bit later for that. Okay. And then ladies, making sure that you are getting enough water. It's not a vitamin powder drink. I don't use any vitamin powder drinks for that. So yeah. With Organica, I don't really like. Here's the thing why everybody uses it. It's because you can get it super cheap in giant ass buckets at Costco. So it is that thing, but I'm just going to caution you, it's a huge scoop that's inside of there. So I'm always thinking, how can I use less of something to get more? I look at like the concentration of it. So that's just what I would say about that. Okay. And so some of those things that are also, going to create the magnesium depletion, which contributes to your mental fatigue. And this is like also the invisible load that so many of us are feeling in our bodies. And when you're depleted and your minerals are depleted, you're more prone to anxiety because the adrenals and your nervous system are part of what is either triggering or is exacerbating those feelings of anxiety. If your body is more grounded, your blood sugar's grounded, you're hydrated, your nutrients are where they need to be, we can manage a lot more without being frazzled by it. This is also where you need to think of the dietary things to deplete magnesium. So too much caffeine, too much sugar, alcohol. We all know these things. I don't have to give you a list of like the foods that are going to deplete your body. We know that. So we want to focus on the foods that support that, right? And those are all your healthy sources of protein, your healthy carbohydrates, your fruits, your veggies, your, good quality grains like your rices and your oats and those kind of things. And really like looking at food as whole food, not how we can fragment it, not is it a diet food, but like real quality whole food and putting that into your body. Okay. Yes, the magnesium is very gentle on the gut. Okay, very gentle. So calming your nervous system, okay? How do we do that? So, yes, we can do things like magnesium and we can use electrolytes, but we have to also recognize and understand what is triggering our nervous system. And this is where we have to, be deconditioned. We're so conditioned to be on all the time. Everyone needs us for a different reason. Go, go, go. And if you also are that type of person where you've only known how to move through life fast and doing more than the average person, and that's also how you've been recognized, and those are your accolades, like that's a conditioning, right? I can resonate with that. I was always recognized as like, you do so much and all this and that. And I'm just like, oh, and it feels great. And then all of a sudden you're like, but my body doesn't feel great. You have to remember that every time you outsource how you want to move through life, there's a cost to that. And so the role of your parasympathetic nervous system when it comes to supporting your hormones, supporting metabolic health, supporting your sleep, supporting your brain health, is your nervous system has to feel stable. Your nervous system has to feel grounded. So what are some things that you can be doing on a daily basis? Pay attention to how you are breathing. Breath work, box breathing, inhaling for 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, holding for 4. Getting into bed at night without a device in your hand. And if you need to do something with your hands, one hand to heart, one hand to belly, feel and focus on the breath that is moving through your body. Relax your jaw. Let your shoulders drop. Stop showing up in every moment of your life anticipating what is coming next or what is going to be needed from you. What are grounding rituals you can do for yourself? Do you get outside in fresh air? It sounds so simple and so trivial, but I'm telling you, there are positive and negative ions out in nature, in the water, in the air, in the trees, in the birds chirping, and this is free happiness. This is free happiness and grounding. So, can you get yourself outside, even if it is for a few moments? Can you go barefoot outside? Can you offer your body some contrast therapy? A little bit of cool, a little bit of warm, a little bit of cool, a little bit of warm. Okay. Can you do a digital sunset where when the sun goes down, and I know we have longer days, it is beautiful solstice coming up on Friday. Can you put your phone down? Really evaluate your relationship with your devices. What's plugged in your room? How many noises and sounds are going off? What kind of natural light exposure can you do in the morning? Every single thing I just said to you is free. You don't have to go buy anything for any of that stuff. Nothing. You have to realize that you have all of these tools that live within you, and now we have to put them into action. And the reason that we can't remember that we can be the solution instead of being the bottleneck in our own health is because every time we pick up a device, we are told, buy this, you need this, go get that, you have to own this giant thing in your head, all of it. And listen, I own lots of tools. I have a sauna, I have a red light, I have these things. I use them when I need them. But do not be fooled for 1 second to think that those things somehow can outdo what your own body can do for you. You have to go in and you have to tap it in here, okay? What's your morning routine? The way you start your morning is going to, if you let it, it will shift things for you. If you let your morning routine, it will shift things for you. Do you have enough space in the morning? Do you have time to get up and take the time in the bathroom getting ready, to take time to fill your water? Do you have time to enjoy something warm and delicious if that's your thing? Whether it's your coffee with collagen, or it's a matcha with collagen, or it is making a smoothie you can take on the go. Whatever that thing is, do you have something that anchors you at the beginning of your day? This is you are literally sending like a signal out into the universe for the rest of your day. If you start stable and grounded, you're going to be more inclined to continue on that moving forward. If you start erratic and crazy and like a teenager essentially, where they run downstairs, they don't have food, they barely get out the door with 2 shoes on, the rest of that day, that energy is frenetic. Ladies, we don't have that in us anymore. We are back at the stage where we need a diaper bag, but now it's all of our snacks and it's our hydration and it's all the things that have to come with us. How can you create a morning that is going to ground you? I will tell you, and my family will know, They're like, have you had your matcha today? Because if I haven't, I'm not the same person. I'm a little spicy. If I have my matcha, I'm very mild. I'm very chill. And that is because of what that does for me. Now, I choose matcha over coffee. Number one, I just don't like coffee. But there's a lot of really beautiful healing properties to matcha. It is anti-carcinogenic. It is rich in ECGC. It is not frenetic. So for me, if I have coffee, even decaf, I feel jittery, hot, anxiety, heart racing. I can't do it. My husband, he can have a bucket of it, chill, super chill, loves it. Not for me. So matcha has been a beautiful thing to come into my life that gives me something to enjoy in the morning. I put collagen in mine. I add my medicinal mushrooms in there, not psilocybin. I add like lion's mane, and it really makes the difference. It is an anchor in my day. Is it movement for you? What is the thing that is going to help your body feel fantastic? Okay. If we come back to your sleep hygiene for a moment, because I do get asked this question all the time around what can I do like right now? So you could start to utilize magnesium in a different way. We've talked about that. You can be making sure that you're cognizant of your blood sugar being really well supported. Decrease your alcohol, if not eliminate it all. Get rid of the blue light. Try to avoid eating right before bed. Now, some of you are going to feel great having 2 to 3 hours between your last meal and when you go to sleep. That doesn't always work for everyone. And I am finding more and more with women that are in perimenopause and menopause, and even post menopause, right? So you haven't had a period for some time now, is that some women actually do a little bit better at that stage of life, having something about an hour or two before they go to bed to help keep their blood sugar stable. And it could be something small. It could be a little bit of like coconut yogurt, or if you can do dairy, Greek yogurt, and a little bit of berries. So you're getting a little bit of protein and a little bit of carbohydrate. It could be, like a slice of good quality sourdough bread and a little bit of a nut butter on it. It doesn't have to be anything wild and crazy, but in your dinner when you're having it, if you're the kind of person where all you do is protein and like non-starchy vegetables, so you do chicken and salad and green beans and asparagus, maybe try adding in a half a cup of rice. Add in a half a cup of baked potatoes or sweet potatoes or squash. Add in something starchy that is going to be high in fiber, but is going to ground your blood sugar a little bit longer. And notice if that makes a difference staying asleep. If you get hot flashes, get the wine out, get the booze out at night. That is directly going to increase the intensity of your hot flashes. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry to tell you that. Okay. Yeah. And then melatonin. Great question. I don't want you over relying on it. I love melatonin, but not for the reason you think. Melatonin is a hormone, okay? Melatonin is beautiful. Melatonin supports the immune system. It has so many good qualities. Most people take too much. I don't think that most people need more than, like, to me, a high dose is 3 milligrams of magnesium. I start most of my clients off with 1, maybe 1.5 milligrams, but I don't just give them melatonin by itself. I will have them use melatonin and magnesium. I will maybe have them use a combination with something that also has GABA. GABA, when we no longer ovulate and don't have enough healthy progesterone on board, GABA goes out the window. GABA is responsible for calming your brain down. So maybe we bring in some melatonin with a little bit of GABA. Sometimes it's herbs, right? It could be valerian or chamomile. You don't need to go and do all of the things, but start to pay attention. So come back to the very first question I asked you. Is it an environmental issue or is it a you sleep issue? Then start to look at what are you doing throughout your day. In order to set up good sleep at night, we really want to like start the day off with the intention we're going to sleep well. So we have to eat well and hydrate well and move your body, those kind of things. And then start to bring in some of the other elements that could be like the magnesium, or not the magnesium, sorry, the melatonin and the GABA and those kind of things. Yeah, it's not, well, here's the thing I just want to say when you're asking that question, this isn't about being perfect. Like that literally, like just take that word and chuck it. It's not possible. And really, what does it even mean to be perfect? You are a human living a human life, having a human experience, and there are no guarantees on what is going to happen in your day. And so we take care of I wake up every day and I think about taking care of my body as the woman that I am through the lens that I'm not trying to, outsmart or outwit something. I am trying to do the best job I can taking care of myself physically, mentally, and emotionally so that if something happens that I was like, I did not see that coming in life, my body is not standing on one toe to manage that stress. And now the rug gets pulled out from under me. I treat my body in a way where I am firmly rooted in my 2 feet and my 2 legs all the time. So that if something does happen in my health, in my home, in my life, in my business, it doesn't crush me. I'm like, okay, I got this because I've been showing up every day and doing that work. And it's not easy all the time. I don't want to do it all the time. It's not always easy, but we get one body. We get one body that we have the gift of being able to take care of. And you need to trust your body. You need to trust her. You need to lean into her. You need to take care of yourself in a way that's really nourishing and loving and not, where you're punishing yourself. Okay. Last little bit of this is talking about how this can relate to not just your cognitive health, but your muscle strength and recovery. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of women lifting weights and moving their bodies, and I love Pilates and yoga and bar. I just love movement. But making sure that you are giving your body the building blocks to be able to build strength, to build endurance, to build power, and then to recover is essential. Your workout is where the stimulus happens. It's where you go and essentially like poke the bear of the body to create change. And what happens when you're lifting weights and you do anything challenging is you are actually creating stress. You are creating a level of oxidative stress in the body. Now, it's a eustress, it's a positive stress, but we need to feed the body to prepare for the stress, to perform alongside the stress, and to recover from the stress. So if you are trying to build muscle right now as women, you have to remember something. Sarcopenia, which is muscle loss, this starts in our 30s. So the muscle we have on our bodies, this is currency. This is like money, and we are creating an exchange every single day in our life. So muscle is your metabolic currency. I'm not talking about getting jacked and like good luck, okay? Do not show me if that happens to you because I've been trying to get jacked for my whole life. My limbs are too long. But it's not about that. It is about being strong. It is about being able to hold your own. It is about being able to hold your own body weight. It is about not fatiguing under the pressure of whatever it is, okay? So you strength train, you eat enough protein and carbohydrates. Please eat a carbohydrate. Stop restricting your carbs. So many women are like, I'm eating protein and I'm not gaining muscle. I'm not seeing the changes. And I'm like, yeah, because you're not getting carbohydrates in. So you look flat. Carbohydrates and glycogen, which is the stored form of glucose in your body, is what is going to help to build your muscle. If you're not eating carbohydrates, you're going to have flat looking muscles. You're not going to see the definition. Okay. So you need to make sure that you are getting enough of both. If this is something you struggle with, you want to come into my program Ignite that starts on the 25th because I'm going high and deep on teaching this. All right. So you need to strength train, you need to eat properly, and you need to recover. All right, you need to recover. And recovery is not just like lying on the ground. You can still be active in recovery, but the recovery is looking at your whole life as that piece of stress. All right, so think protein forward meals, get your carbohydrates in, strength train, go out for walks. We are meant to move every day. We are meant to move every day. And so, the other thing, ladies, can you eat your first meal of the day within an hour to an hour and a half of waking? So you could get up, you could have whatever your drink is, and then can you actually get a meal in earlier in the day? This is also going to help with that cortisol awakening response. Okay. And then I think the bigger picture is try not to hyper focus on micromanaging everything, right? Focus on your breath and pay attention to it. Focus on moving your body every day. Focus on connecting with people. Focus on getting sunlight. Make sure that you're getting enough water and add in things like your rehydrate, your collagen, your magnesium, so that it's just a simple one-stop shop into the water that you already know that you need to be drinking. Okay. So I think my whole company is called Simplicity. My company is called Simplicity Project. My studio back in the day was Simplicity. Everything I do is rooted in the question of how can I create more simplicity and ease in all that I do. And I believe that simplicity is the new sophistication when it comes to midlife health. I think that if we can understand how to do less a whole lot better, that we are going to start to feel like we're actually making true change that's going to last. Okay. I am going to share with you. Yeah, I have a whole segment in Ignite that is just on supplements, the ones I think are worth their weight and the ones I don't think that you need to go and spend your money on. I'm just going to show you two more pictures and then I'm going to come in and answer these questions here because, again, I want you to be able to just screenshot. You can also go onto the Within Us website for any of the products that we have talked about specifically tonight. Hold on, let me just get this up here for you. Okay, so I showed you the collagen already. I'll just hold it here for a sec if you didn't take a screenshot of it. You can get it in the bucket, which we have, but also I have these on my desk and I travel with them. They come in like individual travel packs, super handy. So that's a great way that you can order them as well. And I have these on my desk. I'm a huge fan of stations. So I keep Rehydrate at my desk. The magnesium stays down in the kitchen near the kettle because that's where I'll go at night when I have that. My matcha is right next to the kettle. So I have a little lazy Susan that's there, and I have all the things like my husband's coffee, my collagen, my mushroom powders, my matcha. Everything is there. So it's super simple. I don't have to waste any mental energy where the things are. I take lion's mane every day at my desk. It's right here at my desk. I make things simple. I make things simple. If you're taking a capsule form of magnesium, why don't you have it near your toothbrush? Because you're going to go there before you go to bed, and that's how you're going to remember to take it. Here is the Rehydrate. They have many different flavors. Lemon is probably my favorite, but I do also love which this one here is the organic watermelon lime. That's delicious. I don't drink alcohol at all anymore, so I make mocktails with my Rehydrate. I do a little sparkling water and a scoop of my Rehydrate. Super delish on a hot day. And I put it in a wine glass. When we had friends staying with us and everyone else was having wine and I don't drink it. So I had sparkling water and I had a scoop of my Rehydrate and I was happy. I was a happy little clam. I was a happy little pike. Okay, so you've taken your picture of that, and then I'll just show you the matcha, because in my opinion, this is the best matcha of life. And you need a very small amount. You need a half a teaspoon. A lot of people use too much, and that, like my friends who say it tastes like grass, they're using too much and they're not making it right. So how I make matcha is I do a half a teaspoon of my matcha. I put the powder in the bottom of my mug. I do a scoop of my collagen. I add in, I don't drink dairy for me, so I add in like a non-dairy milk and I add in either like a little splash of, could be like a little bit of maple syrup. I could do a little bit of raw honey. If you had like a vanilla flavored creamer that you love, I take a little handheld whisk. I whisk it together as I pour the hot water over top. You could also chuck it in a blender. It's just one more thing to clean. And that's what I do. And I make it super simple and it makes me so happy. So on the right-hand side here, you'll see the code to save Within Us is at withinus.ca and it's Jenn Pike 20. You can take a picture of this screenshot here. So if you don't already follow the podcast, follow me on social, have the link to any of the things we offer, you can just take a screenshot of this if you're looking for extra support. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this in like 5 seconds. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to answer questions for the next like 10, 15 minutes. So I'm going to hit stop share. You can mix it with hot water. Are you asking the hydrate if you can mix with hot water? I've never done that before. I don't know. Maybe you should try that and tell us. I am not sure. Okay, so let me scroll up here to where some of the new ones came in. I don't think hot water will minimize its effectiveness, to be honest. I've just never had it and tried it, but I can understand why you're doing it in the morning in place of like lemon water. So I'll ask the company, but I don't think that it would change anything. The dragon fruit mandarin. Yeah, I have all of them. I have all of them. I just hosted a business retreat last week, the Audacious Women, and I gifted all of them, all of the different flavors, because they're just so good. Thank you for being, oh, you're so welcome, Pam. You make a cacao collagen drink. Yes, I have cacao. I get my cacao through Juice Plus and it's so good. And I add the collagen in there. Fantastic. Um, Lives in Japan for 3 years and swears by matcha. They within us, so Tammy, the founder, is Japanese and they source all of their matcha. It is ceremonial, organic, pure grade matcha from Japan. I'm telling you, go onto the company's website and just read and learn about them. They are fantastic humans behind a fantastic company, and their integrity and why they choose what they choose, how they choose it is like they've set the bar high, in my opinion. I've also interviewed Tammy, the owner, the founder, on the podcast as well too. Quick progesterone question. I would not take some in the morning and some at night, to be honest, because progesterone can be sedative. So that can make you sleepy and drowsy. But again, I would talk to your provider about that because I don't know if they like specifically what their plan is for you. But anytime you've been prescribed something, you always want to go back to your prescribing provider and to your pharmacist to ask clarifying questions. Okay. Don't let a random person in a webinar tell you how to go and take those. Do you take the Within Us magnesium and collagen along with magnesium supplements? So no, if I am using the powder, and again, depending, like let's say I'm working with somebody where I've determined because of their symptoms they've got going on, they're not sleeping, they're constipated, nervous system is just like in shambles. Like we need some support. I may give them a scoop of this because we're going to get in a total of 250 milligrams of the magnesium. Plus there's L-theanine in here. This is the other beauty ingredient in their combination. L-theanine, very calming for the body at night. So I might give that person a scoop of this in the evening, which is 250 milligrams, and then I may have them take a capsule. And I love CanPrev. If we're going to talk capsules, I love CanPrev as the company. They're gentle 200 milligram bisglycinate. So then that person would be getting 450 milligrams in totality. You will know if you have taken too much magnesium because you will have very loose stool. That's how you will know. Okay. Um, what's the benefits of therapeutic dosing? That's what I just described for that. And you do want to be careful because it's one of those things where, you know, I can say like in one mouthful, the worst thing that had happened is you just don't need to have tons and tons of magnesium unless the amount you're taking isn't helping to produce the result. And we have to remember that we can't just isolate, meaning magnesium is not going to go fix everything. You might notice you take magnesium and you're like, I don't get cramps in my calves anymore. I don't wake up with my toes cramping in my sleep. But magnesium's not going to go and take every ache and pain away, make you sleep through the night, get rid of hot flashes. It's a mineral that is supporting your body as a whole. And so if you feel like you're struggling with other issues, this is when you want to go and invest and work with a practitioner who can do a full intake. And understand when you are working with a practitioner, you're not going to get all your answers in one session. Okay, you probably won't even remember everything to tell them in a session. The amount of clients I worked with, okay? I was just laughing about this with a client the other week because I've been working with her for quite some time, did a full intake, medical assessment, all this and that, functional labs, and I overheard her having a conversation with someone last week talking about a certain procedure. And I was like, I didn't know you had that procedure. Oh, yeah, I've had. And I was like, what? I'm like, I didn't know that. That actually makes a difference in what I would recommend for you to use. And she was like, it didn't even occur to me because it was so long ago. Those kind of things happen. So when you're working with someone, it's going to take some time. Is there anything that'll help with weight loss? Um, not in this class. So again, you know, when we're talking about these types of things, it's the foundationals, Pat. So it is staying in something long enough for things to be able to change. And weight loss is like, that's a whole nother conversation. And I've done some master classes on that, and I have podcast episodes on that. Ignite may be something that you'd be looking into. That's an 8-week body transformation program that I run. It's June 25th to August 12th. If you go to jennpike.com/ignite, I'll actually just type it in here. And then if you have any questions, the best place to message me with questions about programs that we run or things like that, honestly, is on Instagram. It'll be myself or Amanda on my team who reaches out. I almost always respond back with a voice note. I just find it easier to communicate that way. Vitamin B is fantastic, just depends on what you need and how to take them. I find most people, again, like a good quality B complex, great companies, CanPrev's another great one, Designs for Health, AOR. B vitamins, though, it does depend on the individual. Some people have a hard time with Bs. So if they have the MTHFR gene variant, any other issues with being able to methylate or sulfate. So if you take B vitamins and they make you feel nauseous and you do not feel good from them, or you feel hyperstimulated, you probably have an issue with methylating. So you want to make sure that you're getting the methyl form of those B vitamins. The sodium isn't listed for rehydrate because it's not a therapeutic dose. It is a dose that when they have it in there, they're adding in that sodium and sodium chloride to help to pull all of the other minerals together. And you'll notice when you drink it, it is not salty. It's like there's a little hit of it, but it's not over salty. My thoughts on your doctor still recommending to be on the birth control pill at 47 to help you sail through perimenopause. My thoughts would be you should get a second opinion. That would be my thoughts on that one, Liza. Is it possible that L-theanine and GABA can give you leg cramps? Not in my experience, but anything is possible, right? Everybody is so different. So if you're saying that you notice the only time when you take that at night you get achy legs, then that may not be the one for you. What I would do is process of elimination. So try taking just the L-theanine on its own and notice if you still notice that. That would be one of the ways that you could rule that out. You are very welcome. I'm not a huge fan, me personally, of taking a multivitamin. That being said, some companies are better than others. I think if we were taking a multi, a powder or a liquid would probably be good. I'm not a fan of like hard tablets. There's really only one supplement that I will ever give people that's a hard tablet base, and it's just because they only make it in a tablet, and it is cortisol manager. But I don't, so if you can get a multivitamin that is liquid based, I don't use multis. I use Juice Plus, which is fruits and veggies in a capsule. That's how I get all the micronutrients, and then I bring my minerals otherwise in food for that. A therapeutic dose for the magnesium 3 and 8, same thing would be 5 times your body weight in milligrams. But don't go and just do that for yourself. I was just telling you that as an example when we're talking about how much, but the average person is going to sit in that sweet spot of somewhere between 200 milligrams at the low end to probably no more in the upwards of about 600 milligrams. And again, if you really wanted to dial it in, work with someone one-on-one for that. Okay, I'm going to answer 2 more questions here. What can someone take for night sweats? Well, first, I would start to understand why there's the night sweats there. So do we have stable blood sugar? Are we hydrated? Minerals in check? Have we done all of those things? If the answer is yes, oftentimes, you're welcome, Beth. Thanks for coming. Oftentimes, we have night sweats when we have progesterone that is low combined with estrogen that is low. And so sometimes taking progesterone works on the estrogen receptors. I was saying this earlier, can really help with hot flashes, and it helps you sleep and it calms the body. So most women will be introduced to taking progesterone first. Might be capsule form, might be cream form, could be a vaginal or a rectal suppository that they're told on how to use it in that way. And then estrogen is typically brought in secondary. Now, that's not every woman's journey. Depends on her symptoms, depends on what is going on for that. Sometimes for women, it is they can start the progesterone and it decreases the hot flashes, but not fully. And it's not until they start taking estrogen that actually is like the thing that finally calms things down for that. So yeah, you are so welcome. Thank you for being such an incredible group of women coming on in, asking all the questions. And so what I would say in terms of your follow-up time would be, we're going to send the recording out, give us about 2 days. We do everything manual. We're like actual humans who do this behind the scenes. So we'll send the recording out. That code is JennPike20. If you're interested in Ignite, you can head to that link or you can send me a message. Have an awesome rest of your night. I hope you all sleep great, and we'll see you back here next time.